Okay, hello, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Chris, and I am one of the Shortcuts educators here. So, this morning, what we're going to be going through is all of the steps for our essential stock control. Okay, and we're also going to be going through a couple of reports to assist you with this. Okay, now, especially at this unfortunate pandemic time, we feel it's never been a better time to sort of brush up on your stock and take control of all things like that. And in the long run, it really is going to help you out with time saving and of course money as well. So today we're going to go through all of the essential stock. Okay, and I think we've just got a couple of people still joining us, and I appreciate we're sort of 2 or 3 minutes late, but I can still see loads of people joining on, and this is a really important one for us as well this morning. Can I just double check moving forward? Can everyone hear me okay? Perfect, great stuff. Just wanted to just double check that all moving forward. Fantastic. Okay, so we've got just a couple more minutes. I think we've got 2 or 3 more people there just waiting to join, and then we'll get started. Okay, perfect. Thank you ever so much for everyone letting me know that. That's great. Perfect. Excellent stuff. Thank you ever so much. Good morning, everyone. Thank you. Loads of messages coming in. Great stuff. Okay, so looks like we've got everyone on board. So just to reiterate, if you missed a sort of introduction there, my name is Chris, and we're going to be going through all of the essential stock control today. Now, I appreciate you may find that there is a lot to go through. There's quite a few steps, but we are going to break it down. Don't worry if you do find this a little bit hard to sort of digest. We are going to be running webinars moving forward, breaking this down even further. So we're going to do each step on its own specific webinar. So don't worry too much about that. Okay, so let's get started. So the duration of this webinar will be approximately 60 minutes. Okay, so basically an hour, depending on how many questions we get and so forth. Now, as we've already ascertained, of course, my microphone has been switched on. Everyone else has automatically been muted. So if you are listening in with a headset of a microphone, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to talk back to me, but feel free to drop me some messages at the end. And of course, most importantly, your speakers must be turned on to, of course, hear me. So, in this session, we will be covering accessing your products, of course, and adding new lines and suppliers, and updating your minimum and your maximum levels. Now, we're going to get to what all of these mean later on. We're also going to be looking at performing stock takes to ensure your levels are correct, because, of course, we need those current stock levels to be correct before we place an order. Otherwise, we're going to end up with more or less than what we need, and of course, is going to cost us money. We're going to look at generating an order based on these current these levels, these maximum and minimum levels. I'm also going to look at managing our professional stock usage to, of course, reduce costs and wastage. Okay, so we've got lots of handy tips and tricks for you there. We're also going to be looking at essential stock reports and much more. Okay. So a couple of key words, okay? A couple of words we're going to be talking about throughout this webinar. So we're going to be talking about suppliers. Now, a supplier, as we can see, is a person or an organization that provides something needed, such as a product or a service. Now, in this demonstration, you will see it's Salons Direct. This could be Salons Direct, Sally's, Aston and Finch's. Those are our suppliers. Then we have our company, which is a business which makes goods or products. In this case, it's going to be Kerastars, Paul Mitchell, L'Oreal, Redken, so forth. And of course, we have a line of products. And this is a group of related products, all categorized under a single brand name that is sold by the same company. So if you're familiar with Kerastars, the line of products is called Nutritive. And Redken, I think they've got Color Magnetics, Color Extend, L'Oreal, Solar Sublime, all of those kind of things. Okay, so a couple of keywords there. We've got our supplier, we've got our company, and we've got our line. We are going to be talking about these in quite a bit of detail throughout the webinar. Okay, so basically today's webinar is all pretty much going to be a live demonstration. Now, just before we get into it, this is all geared towards Shortcuts Fusion. Okay, Shortcuts Fusion, if you're not aware of, that is the name of our main shortcut system. Okay, so this is all going to be geared towards Shortcuts Fusion. Now, just before we get into our live demonstration, if you do want to chat further, you can, of course, email me at education@shortcuts.co.uk, Or of course, you can give us a call on 0161 972 4900. Just please be aware with everything going on at the moment, we are sort of running on a bit of a skeleton staff. So wait times may be a little bit longer, but we do aim to get back to you as soon as possible. Of course, you can go onto our website, shortcuts.co.uk. Lots of useful information on there. And of course, we've got a link there for our COVID-19. Now, on our website, there's like a resource hub under COVID-19. Lots of templates, lots of useful information in there as well. And of course, if you weren't sure how to sign up to today's webinar, or if somebody signed you up for you, you can go onto our website and then it's /online classes. And there is a tab at the top as well under support for online classes if you want to watch them further. So we have a further 3 for today. Perfect. So with that being said, we can now move on to our live demonstration. So the first thing I'm going to do is just open up my Shortcuts Fusion system. Okay, that's all I'm going to do. I've opened up my shortcut system just there. And on the right hand side, I'm going to show you how to open up your stock section. Now, some of you or most of you, or if not all of you, may be familiar with how to do this, but we're going to start from scratch just in case you've never done this before. So on the right hand side of our navigation bar, you will see there is a little stock button just here. And what we're going to be working through today is these 3 buttons just here. So products, ordering, and stock take. So what we're going to do is we're going to click onto products. Just to double check, can everyone see my Shortcuts appointment book screen, or is it still stuck on something else? Can everyone see everything okay? Yep. Okay. Thank you, everyone. That's brilliant. Leslie, do you want to just log out and log back in again, just to double check? Sorry, we just had someone say you just couldn't see what I was doing. Perfect. At the same perfect. Okay, lovely. Thank you, Leslie. Okay, so we're just going to go back to the beginning there. So we're just going to click on the stock button on the right-hand side of our navigation bar. And then underneath, we're going to click onto the products button just underneath. Okay, now some of you may already have some products in here, some of you may not. So we're going to go through this again from scratch. So in the bottom left-hand corner, just down here, you will see we have a little toggle bar. Now at the moment, it says all. Now what that means is we are looking at both our professional and our retail products. If we hit the drop down arrow, we can see we can toggle between professional and we can toggle between retail. Okay. Now, typically we say professional products are only to be used in the salon and cannot be sold to the general public. A good way to identify these within Shortcuts is there's a couple of ways. Typically, professional products do not have a sell price because, of course, you're not selling them. And also within Shortcuts, they can be identified by being written in italics. Okay. And retail products, we typically say, of course, can be sold to the public and as well can be used professionally if needs be. So, of course, if you do need to take a hairspray off the shelf, of course, you can use it on a client. So that's where you can toggle between. Now, for today, we're going to keep all. So that will be your professional and your retail products. Now, in the right-hand corner here, you will see we have a drop-down arrow. Now, at the moment, you will see we are viewing these products by company and line. Can we add a training one? No, unfortunately, you can't add anything to the stock. It's just a professional, retail, or all together, professional or retail. Training, I presume in a way, it will be kind of identified by professional. You could also create a company and a line, which I'm about to show you now for training products. So in the right-hand corner, you will see we are viewing our products by company and line. Now, if we hit the drop-down arrow, we can view our products by our supplier. Now, for the time being, we're not going to worry about category and subcategory. So you can also view your products by the supplier. Supplier, if you remember from the beginning, is where we purchase our products from. Okay. So let's say we wanted to add a brand new company, a brand new line, and of course, some new products to our system. So the first thing we need to do whenever we add any new companies, any new lines, any new products, anything like that, we need to add a supplier in. Now, the reason we have to add a supplier in is for when we do our automated ordering, because of course, if the system doesn't know where we purchase our products from, we're not technically going to be able to order them. So before we can add a brand new company and a brand new line, we have to add a supplier in. So in the bottom right-hand corner, we're going to click the drop-down arrow and we're going to click supplier. And you will see it now changes to my list of suppliers. So I've got a supplier here called Salon Success. So I want to add a brand new supplier in. So this, remember, is where we purchase our products from. So I'm going to click the new button right down here. And I'm going to say my supplier is Aston and Fincher. Okay, so that's the first thing we've done there. We've added in a new supplier. So in the bottom right-hand corner, again, I'm going to toggle back to company and line because now I want to add a new company and line in. So to add a company and line in, first of all, at the top of the screen, we're going to click business. And then down the bottom of the screen again, we're going to click the new button, just like before. And I'm going to add the name of my company, okay? And the name of my company is going to be Redken. Now, underneath, you will see my default supplier. So if I hit my drop-down arrow, I can now see my two suppliers. This is exactly why at the beginning, we always add our supplier in because it just makes it a little bit easier. So I'm now going to link my supplier, Aston & Fincher, to my company, Redken. You don't have to worry about adding in a default category if you don't want to, but underneath, you can also add your rep details in, and as well as the company details to the left-hand side. Once you're happy, click the Done button in the bottom right-hand corner. So you will now see I've added my company. Redken is my company. Now I need to add my line in. So to do this, to add a line to an existing company, we click onto the company and we click the line and we click the new button, sorry. We can now add in our new line of products. Okay, so I've added in my line of products. Now remember, our line of products is how we can better group and categorize our specific products. So we now have our company, i.e. Redken, and we also have our line of products to categorize these products better, i.e. Color Magnetics. The third and final step is to add in those specific products. So to do this, to add a product to an existing line, we click onto the line and we click the new button. Now, it's always a good idea to add the sizing in as well, just to make it easier to identify it. Then on the right-hand side, you will see we have some columns. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to pop our buy price in here. Now, typically the buy price is exclusive of VAT. Now, this really does depend on how your shortcut system is set up. Most of the time, you probably won't have even noticed, but in the background, we have set it up that your buy prices are exclusive of VAT when you input them here, even though when you sell them, they will still claim the VAT on them, okay? But you will pop them in here exclusive of VAT. To the right-hand side on the sell, this is basically your RRP. This is what you're going to sell the product for, and this will be inclusive of VAT. To the right-hand side here, you will see we have a column where it says current. Now, all of these columns here, you will see you can extend and make wider or narrower if you need to. We also have a column here that says maximum level. And we have a column here that says minimum level. Now I'm going to explain what these three columns mean. So our current level is the number of products we have on the shelf at this particular moment in time. The maximum level is the number of products we aim to have in stock as soon as we've received an order. The minimum level is what we would like our current level to fall below so that an order can be generated in the background to place it back up to the maximum level. So let's give an example. So if we say my current was 3 and my maximum was 6 and my minimum level was 2. That would mean once this current level of 3 falls below 2, it will then in the background not place an order, sorry, bad choice of words. It will create an order to place it back up to 6. Yes, no problem. Someone's just messaged there. Yes, absolutely. No problem that you're a little bit late to the demo. It is all being recorded, so you will be able to watch it back. No problem at all. So we've got our current, maximum, and minimum level. Now, just to reiterate, our current is the number of products we have on our shelf at this particular moment in time. This is our current stock level. And we have our maximum and minimum level. Our maximum level is the number of products we aim to have on our shelf as soon as we've received an order. And our minimum level is what our current level will fall below in order for a background order to be generated to place it back up to our maximum. So these three columns kind of work in unison with each other. And of course, right at the end, you will see we have our barcode column. Now, if you have a barcode scanner, you can simply scan the barcode in here. If not, you can manually type it in. So moving forward, a little bit of homework to really help you out. We will need to have our maximum and minimum levels inputted. Now, just to let you know, if you pop your minimum level in as 1, you will have to completely sell out of the product, okay? Because if you can imagine, the number below 1 is 0, so you'll have to completely sell out of the product for an order to be placed, okay? Now, one thing you will notice is my current level color here kind of changes. So at the moment, I've got 0 in stock, so it's red. It's basically a quick visual indicator to let me know that I need to place an order. But let's say I have a current level of 6 in. You will see it is green. That is because I'm at my maximum, so I don't need to place an order. So a little bit of background and a little bit of homework for us all there. We are going to have to go through and pop our maximum and minimum levels in. Now you will see I've already done this for a couple of my products here. Perfect. So just to recap on what we've done so far, we've added in a supplier, we've added in a company, which was Redken, we've added in a line of products, which was Color Magnetics, and we've added in a specific literal product, our Color Magnetic Shampoo 250 milliliters. And we've just gone through and added in our maximum and minimum levels to better aid us when we do our automated ordering. Now, of course, the next step after this is to ensure our current levels are totally accurate, because of course, there's no point having our maximum and minimum levels 100% accurate and then trying to generate an order if our current stock levels are totally out. Now, the quickest and best way to do this is to do a stock take. Now, on the right-hand side, all we need to do is simply click the stock take button just here. I've become VAT registered since originally setting up my stock. Is there an easy way to change all stock to 20% sell tax? Yes, there is, Ellie. At the end, I will show you how to do that. I'll change everything to 20% for you. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do a stock take to ensure our current levels are totally accurate. So if we click the stock take button on the right-hand side, and in the top right-hand corner, we're going to click the new button because, of course, we're going to do a new stock take. And in the description box, this is where we're going to say the product or the line or the company we're going to count. So I'm going to do a Paul Mitchell stock take. So in the bottom right-hand corner, I'm going to click the next button. A lot of people at this stage, they always want to click the done button. You don't need to click that. It's the next button. In the top right-hand corner, we're now going to add the products in because, of course, we've said we're going to do a Paul Mitchell stock take. We now need to add the products in we wish to count. Okay, now you'll see here, I've got my two companies. I've got Paul Mitchell and I've got Redken. Now, if I wanted to count every single line, every single product that falls within the Paul Mitchell or the Redken brand, you will see we have a gray dotted tab on the left-hand side. Clicking this will add in every line and every Paul Mitchell product. Now, you may be thinking that's quite a lot of work. So if you didn't have time to do that and you just wanted to add in a specific line, you can click the gray dotted square next to the specific line. And that will add in every product that falls within that particular line. So here I've clicked the gray dotted square next to my Awapui line. In doing so, that would add in every single product under the Awapui line. But of course, if I didn't have time to do that and I just wanted to count a few specific products, you will see we've got grey dotted squares next to each individual product. And clicking on each individual grey dotted square will highlight each individual product. So you will see as I do so, it kind of looks a little bit indented as I do so. We can do this to add in and highlight all of the products necessary. Now, once we've chosen all the products, we need to add them into our stock take. So on the right-hand side, we're going to click onto the Add button. It's the Add button closest to the products. You'll now see on the left-hand side, we've added in all of the products we wish to count. Now, you can, of course, continue adding in products. So you just go down and just click the grey dotted squares like before. Now, if you do already add a product that is already in the list, you will get this error towards the top left-hand side of the screen. So it's a very good question there. Somebody's just said, to do this 100%, is it better to make everything 0 to start again? You don't have to, because if you can imagine, when you do this stock take, it's going to sort of override any current stock levels you've got in anyway. So you don't need to worry about changing all of your current stock levels back to 0. If they're already set at random numbers like 3, 6, 2, 1, and you know those current stock levels are totally inaccurate, by doing another stock take, it's going to override all of those numbers anyway, so it won't matter. Sorry, Alison, I missed your question. What would max and minimum be if you only want 1 on the shelf? Your maximum and minimum would just be 1. Usually, I'd probably recommend maybe having a few more in stock than just 1. But yes, if you do want your maximum and minimums to just be, if you want your maximum to be 1, I would just keep your max and minimum to be 1. And when you've added in all of the products here in your stock take, simply click the Done button in the right-hand side. If it says the product has already been selected, just click the Done button. It just means it's already somewhere in your stock take here. It won't essentially allow you to duplicate them, so you don't end up counting them twice. It will always give that pop up in the top left-hand corner. Okay, so now we have a list of products on the screen that we wish to do a stock take for. So the last step in the bottom right-hand corner is to click the green flag where it says Start. And it will say, are you sure you want to activate this stock take? So we click the Yes button. Then it will prompt you to print out 3 forms, okay? So we have our stock take form, unlist items form, and a stock maintenance form. So the stock take form is, of course, the form we need to print out to do our stock take on. Underneath, we have an unlist items form. Now, this is when you're doing your stock take, if you happen to notice any products physically in the salon that are not on your shortcut system. So you can make a note of these. And underneath that, we have our stock maintenance form. Now, the stock maintenance form is if you notice any products that are damaged, torn, split, leaking, all of these kind of things. Okay, now for the time being, just to make your life a little bit easier, you may wish to only print the top one. Okay, so you don't end up with lots of different forms. Now, as a handy tip, underneath we have a tick box here where it says print shortcuts current levels. Now, I would always recommend you tick that box once you've done a few successful stock takes. Okay, so once you know you've done a few that have worked and that your current levels are pretty much accurate. Now, the reason we do that is it kind of gives you a bit of a safety net. Now, if you can imagine, if you're doing your stock take and the computer says you have 6 in stock, but you've only counted 2, it lets you know that there should be another 4 somewhere in the building. Otherwise, how would you know that you need to continue searching for a product to continue counting? Now, like I said, only do that once you've done a few successful stock takes. Otherwise, the figures may completely throw you out and you may end up running around trying to find a product that is never going to be found in the salon. Now, for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm not going to print anything out. Okay, so I'm just going to take the tick out of all of these, and then I'm going to click the Done button. Now, if at any point you forgot to print any of those forms out, down the bottom of the screen here, you can see we have a print button. We can now reprint this stock take form here. So let's think of this as a real life literal scenario. What we're looking at on the screen here is our stock take form, and we would have now printed that out. So what we would do is, of course, take that sheet of paper and we would take it to our Paul Mitchell section in the salon. We would then, of course, do our stock take, and we would write all of our findings on our sheet of paper, and we would write it on the count column on our sheet of paper. Okay. So let's fast forward a couple of hours and we have done our stock take. Now what we need to do is bring that sheet of paper back to the computer to, of course, input all of our findings, okay? To, of course, update our shortcuts current levels. Now, the amazing thing about doing it this way is you will have noticed that the sheet of paper replicates exactly what we've got on the screen. So everything will be in exactly the same order, making it nice and easy when you transfer all of those numbers from the sheet of paper onto the screen. So if you've got someone that can assist you, they can simply read the numbers out to you and you can input them. So what we're now going to do is input all of our findings back onto the system. Okay, and this is quick and easy as that. So I've just inputted all of my current stock levels that I've just counted. And on the right hand side, you will see I have an adjustment value. Now that is because currently the computer thought I had 0 in stock, but I've just said I've counted 2. So essentially I found £47.90 worth of stock. Now, of course, this also works the other way if the computer thought you had more in stock than what you've just counted. So again, it's letting you know that you've either found money or essentially lost money. Okay, so once you've inputted all of your findings into the count section, the last step in the bottom right hand corner is to, of course, click the finish button. Are you sure you want to complete this stock take? Committing this stock take will update your shortcuts current levels. Well, of course, that's exactly what we want to happen. That's why we did this stock take. So, of course, we can update our current levels. So I'm going to click the yes button. There are product counts that are different to the recorded values or that have been sold during the stock take. Essentially, what this means is the computer thought we had X in stock, but you've now said we've got 2, 5, 5, 1, all these kind of things. Did you miscount, or were these products sold whilst you were doing the stock take? So this is quite a handy tip to have when you do a stock take. Try and do it before the salon is open, or if that cannot be helped, make sure people let you know if they are selling any products whilst you're counting them. So you can, of course, take this into consideration. So would you like to perform a recount? Choosing no will update your shortcuts current level. So I'm happy I've done my stock take 100% correct. Congratulations, you have successfully completed a stock take. Product levels will be updated according to your count. So if we click the done button, our shortcuts current levels will now be completely updated. So what we can now do, just to give a quick check, we can go back to our products, expand Paul Mitchell, and you'll now see my current stock levels have completely changed from the zeros they were when we first started this webinar. So we can see how quick and easy it is to do a stock take to ensure our current levels are totally accurate. So we now basically have all of the foundations to do a successful order in the background. So we have our current levels totally accurate because, of course, we've just done a stock take. And we have our maximum and we have our minimum levels, okay? So we know how many products we aim to have on the shelf after an order. So we can use all of this information to now generate an order in the background. So on the right-hand side, under our stock section, we're going to click onto ordering. Okay, now at the top here, you will see we have a drop down arrow where it says suppliers. Now, you may remember at the beginning of this webinar, I said about adding in a supplier. Okay, so we add a supplier in so we know where to purchase our products from. Now, I added in Aston and Fincher for my Redken, but I've just, of course, just done a stock take for Paul Mitchell, and I purchased my Paul Mitchell products from Salon Success. Very good question. Someone just asked about warning levels. Typically, we don't use warning levels just until you're quite confident with how stock works. Warning levels pop up at the point of sale screen. Now, until you're completely confident that your stock levels are totally accurate, we don't usually talk about warning levels. But if you want to, you can add a warning level. But it kind of, our minimum level kind of acts as that anyway, unless, of course, you want to be physically alerted when you're getting low on a product. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to place an order. So at the top, we need to choose our supplier so the system knows where we purchase these products from. So I purchased my Paul Mitchell products from Salon Success. Now underneath, you'll see we've got outstanding, received, and saved orders. So I'm going to do a brand new Paul Mitchell order, which I purchased from my supplier, Salon Success. So down the bottom, I'm of course going to click the new button. Now you will get this pop up where it says statistics out of date. We don't actually use this anymore. So in the top left-hand corner, you will see we have an order type. So we've got a standard all. Now remember, all means that will add in your professional and your retail products. If you just want to do a retail order, you can do that here, or you can do professional, or you can do any products on promotion. Now I'm going to do a standard all. I want to order my professional and retail. Okay, so you'll now see by clicking on that is added in all of those products. So in a matter of seconds there, we now have an order which is pretty much 100% accurate. Okay, now let's have a look at this order we have here. So you'll notice it's all for Awapui. Now if we circle back to when I did my stock take, I did my stock take for all my Awapui products. On the right hand side, you will see I have all of my quantities, roughly 5 and 6. Now you may remember when I did my maximums, I set them all to around 6. And when I did my stock take, it turned out I only really had 1 or 2 in stock. So that is why my order has been pulled through in that way. Now, of course, you may look at this order and you think, do you know what? I want to adjust it ever so slightly, which of course you can do. You've still got full control over it. Now, if you are finding you are just adjusting the quantities, it may be worth going back to your products and adjusting the maximum and minimum levels, and of course, assessing your shortcuts current levels just to ensure they're totally accurate. So if we do need to change the quantities, we just double click onto it and we change it to the relevant amount. And it's as simple as that. And this will, as you notice, update the total order in the bottom right-hand corner. Now, if of course you want to add in some more products to this, in the bottom left-hand corner, we can click onto the Add button. And we can add some products in. When we're happy, we're going to click the Done button. Now, at any point, you can also click the Save button if you wish to save this order and come back to it at a later date. So maybe you've been interrupted, maybe you need to just double check something. You can save it by clicking the Save button at the bottom of the screen, okay? Now, let's say you have a very kind rep that wants to give you a little bit of discount. You will see there is a column here listed as line discount. So let's say I'm going to get some discount on my keratin intensive treatment 500. So I'm going to double click into my line discount and I can decide whether it's going to be a percentage or a fixed amount. So I'm going to say I get 10%. And you'll see that will update the order totals accordingly. So when we're happy with this order, and this is exactly what we wish to place, right down the bottom of the screen, what we do is we click onto the order button. Do you wish to proceed with this order? So we're going to click the yes button. Now at this point, it will prompt you to print the order out. So what you can do is you can ring up your rep and then place the order. So for the purposes of this webinar, I'm just going to click the cancel button. So the order has been placed successfully. So at this point, you could print the order out, ring up your rep and place the order with them. So I had a couple of questions just come through there as well. Let's just have a look. What is the best way to keep color stock, as there is always part of tubes left around? Also, they can easily go missing and stolen. We're going to get to that in just a minute, Fernando. We're going to get to our professional stock in just a minute. When I did my price, I already put my discount price in. Is that okay? Yes, it's absolutely fine if you always get that discount. I've got old lines on my system that I no longer stock, also discontinue stock, etc. Can I start again and hide all the old stuff? We've had the system since 2009 and quite untidy. I know that I can make things inactive, but they are still there. It's quite annoying and it looks messy. Yes, good question, Marie. When it comes to products that you used to stock and you no longer stock, maybe from a long time ago, essentially there isn't a way to delete it. The reason for this is, as you said, you can make it inactive. Making it inactive should remove it from your system. Now, if you're noticing it's still there, even though you've made it inactive, what I would recommend is at the bottom of the screen, which I will show you just now, when you look at your products, make sure you don't have a tick where it says show me inactive, because even if you tick them to be inactive, with this box here ticked, show me inactive, it will still show you them. But essentially speaking, if you've made your products inactive, they should no longer be visible to you. Now, the reason we can't essentially delete products that you used to stock is probably somewhere in your system. If they've been sold, they will appear on your reports, on your trading summaries and things like that. So that's why you cannot delete them if they've already been sold once before. Companies I deal with have orders of 6 only. So in that case, then what you can do is, if I just show you this is a little bit more in depth, but one thing you can do is always make your maximum of 6. However, when you're looking at your products, at the top here where it says maximum, minimum, and those kind of things, you can right click. And if you go down to, I believe it's properties, let me just find it. If you go down to purchase units, you can add in a column, which will always be a purchase unit of 6. So if we say I always have to order my Awapui in 6 units, you would just change these to 6. That's probably the best way to. It's a little bit more advanced, but most of the time in situations like that, just change your maximum to 6, and then just ensure when you place the order, you change it up to 6, if that's how they want to do it. What if I normally send an email to the supplier instead of calling them? I'm going to get to the end of that just to explain how to add in an email address. What happens if you have to buy some stock in 3? Exactly the same, just change them to units where it says purchase units, and then just change your maximums to 6, 9, and that kind of thing. When you then place the order, just change it to 3, 6, 9, all of those kind of things, if that's how your reps and your companies like you to do it. Just make sure when you place the order, your quantities are in quantities of 3. It's quite common we do have that. The reason we don't have it essentially set out that in shortcuts is some companies allow you to order any number, amount, any quantity, but yes, of course, some do have to do them in 3s or 6. I personally, it might be worth just speaking to them, just saying, do we have to order in 3s or 6s? But yeah, it's usually 3s or 6s for the space on the shelf. Okay, so we've placed our order. The reason I did those questions there is because we placed our order. We're now going to fast forward 3 or 4 days, and the order has now been physically received into the salon. So of course, upon opening up the box and adding all the products onto the shelves, we now need to ensure our stock levels now match exactly what we received into the salon. Okay, so let's fast forward. Orders being received, we now need to add all of those products back onto our shelves. So on the right hand side again, we're going to click onto our ordering section. And over here, you will see we have an outstanding order, which is Salon Success, which is the order I placed 5-10 minutes ago, or 3 or 4 days ago. So what we need to do is we need to click onto our outstanding order, and down the bottom of the screen, we need to click the receive button just here, because we're going to receive this order. Now, I know what it's like most of the time when we have an order physically received into the salon. We open up the box and we typically find a delivery note. What I would do is write the delivery note number in the top right hand corner. This will just make your life a little bit easier. It's a great way to tidy up any administration, any paperwork, anything like that. Now, I know it says invoice number at the top. We can edit that later on, because typically the invoice comes in 2 or 3 weeks later. But for the time being, while we're physically receiving this product, let's pop that delivery note in the top right hand corner. Now, I also know most of the time when we get a product into the salon, we take the delivery note off and we start ticking off the products to ensure we physically receive them. Now, we can actually do something like that in shortcuts. So you will see on the right hand side, we can tick the verified box. This is again to verify that these products were received. Now, just to let you know, you do not have to do this if you don't want to. I know most of the time salons just take the delivery note and they just tick it off on the piece of paper. You do not have to verify the products on Shortcuts. It will not make a difference if you forget to do it, but it's just a handy tool to have. Okay, so you've taken all the products out of the box and you've added them onto the shelves, but you have noticed that there is a product missing. Okay, now if we didn't physically receive it into the salon, we of course don't want to say we received it on our order, because of course that would then throw our Shortcuts current levels totally out. Okay, so what we're then going to do is, let's say this Hydro Cream whip here, I only received 2. I didn't receive the 3. So if I double click onto this and I change it to 2, as soon as I click off, I get this little error pop up here. And it says you ordered 3 of the Hydro Cream whip and are receiving 2. Would you like to put 1 on back order? Now, my best advice here, ladies and gents, is to click the No to All button. The reason for this is because we do not need to have a separate order outstanding for the Hydro Cream whip. If you can imagine, because we didn't receive all of the products, the next time we place an order, it will then want to add this product into the new order to bring it back up to the maximum level like before. So we don't need to have a separate order outstanding for it. Okay, so once we're happy that the order on the screen exactly matches what we physically received into the salon, the last step is to click the Receive button down the bottom of the screen. Are you sure you want to proceed with receiving this invoice? And we click the Yes button. The order has been received successfully. And that is how we can generate an order and then receive it back into the salon. So what will have happened now is our Shortcuts current levels will be back up to their relevant minimum and maximum levels. Now, somebody did ask, how can we email the order to our rep if we email them rather than calling them? So what you would need to do is, in the bottom right hand corner, if you click the Setup button, and if you click onto Configuration, and in the bottom left-hand corner, if you click onto the General tab, and if you go up to the middle section where it says Stock, on the right-hand side here, you can have CC on email order. That will CC in either yourself or your rep. And also, if we go back to the beginning, just in case it was missed off, when you're looking at your stock and you go to your products and go to your supplier, so let's use Aston and Fincher. If you go to the details, you can add in your rep name, phone, mobile, and email address down here. And you'll see it says email stock orders in PDF format or CSV, whichever they prefer. So that's where you can add them in. So I did have a couple more questions come through. Perfect. Great stuff, Kelly. Thank you very much. How do we make the products retail or professional? Now, typically when you do this, this is a very good point. Some of you may or may not have a little section at the top here. If you want to change whether your products are retail or professional, at the top, if you just right click, and if you go down to, I believe it's on properties, you can pop here where it says retail, and it will add a retail or professional column in just here. Now, when you go onto your products, if we have a look at on our products, if we go to our PUI, it will then tell you whether it's retail or professional, and then you can change it here accordingly. Now, some people have this column at the top, depends how long they've had Shortcuts or who set it up. But if not, right click on the column at the top and just go to properties and add in the retail column. And then you can change it from retail to professional. Yep. So to do that, again, you just go to the top of your products. If I just move this out of the way, if you go to the top of your products where you've got like the current, maximum, minimum levels and so forth, where we started, if you just right click, go down to properties, and then you'll have a tick box here or a tick line where it says retail. Once you click onto retail, you can then change it from retail to professional. When the order comes in from the supplier, why can the barcodes not be scanned to verify the products has come in? It's a very good question. We get asked this a few times. To be honest with you, I don't exactly know why you can't do that. I think it's just the way the setup is on Shortcuts. But yes, unfortunately, you cannot scan the products back in. All you need to do is literally just click the receive button, just as I did, and that will receive the order back in. If you think about it, it will kind of take a little bit longer to scan all the products back in because they're already on the system under the order. So all you need to do is hit the receive button if it matches exactly what was physically received. Yeah, we don't have, I know we've looked at it before, a way to do scanning in products and that kind of thing. Not everyone has a barcode scanner. Not everyone has a wireless barcode scanner, those kind of things. Can you do the email thing again, please? Yeah, no worries. So the first thing to check, if you go down in the bottom right-hand corner where it says company and line, if you click supplier, find your relevant supplier, so i.e. Aston and Fincher, click onto it. And if you click the details button, you can pop in the rep name, phone number, and the email address down the bottom just here. And you can decide whether it's going to be emailed in PDF or CSV format. Okay, so moving on towards our professional stock. Now you can treat your retail and professional stock exactly the same. Now by that I mean you can do stock takes for retail exactly the same as you can for professional and vice versa. Now, as you can imagine, you are using your professional stock a hell of a lot, okay? So to be doing a professional stock take, you'd be doing them every couple of hours because as you can imagine, as soon as you mix up a color, you're then technically lower on stock than you were 10 minutes before. So what I would recommend we do is you get yourself a nice big household bin. Okay, you can get these from Wilkinson's, as does all these kind of things. Get yourself a nice big household bin. Pop this down in the color area. Of course, if you've got beauty rooms, you can also do exactly the same. Pop one in your beauty room. And then every time you mix up a color, what I would do is the cardboard color tube with the barcode on and the number, pop the cardboard color tube in the household bin. Don't throw it away, pop it in this household bin. And you can do that for all of your professional products. So you can do it for your backwash shampoos, your glove boxes, nail varnishes, anything like that, anything with a barcode. Even if it doesn't have a barcode, we can still manually search for it. So throw your wax pots in there, all of those kind of things. Okay. Then what I would recommend is at the end of the working week, we can now essentially scan those professional products out. So what we would do is we'd go to the main section and we would click on the point of sale button. In the top left-hand corner, we're going to click where it says clients. And what we're going to do is we're going to look for hashtag business. Now we could search for hashtag business, but the quickest way to get to it is to click the delete button a few times. And you'll see at the top of the screen, we have hashtag business. Now, this is the important bit. We always need to add it to hashtag business. So we now have our client at the point of sale screen. Again, it's hashtag business. And what we're now going to do is we're going to empty out that color bin of all of the cardboard color tubes. Okay. And we're now going to scan them out. Okay. If you don't have a scanner, it's not a problem. You can manually search for them by clicking on the empty gray sale lines. Choose Z business, and then just find all of the products that you wish to scan out. And then when we're happy, we click the done button. Now, one thing you will notice as we scan or manually search for these professional products, you will see the price is all set to 0. This is because it is for professional use and no money is exchanging hands. So it won't affect your cashing up or your trading summary or anything like that. Now, exactly the same, like I said, you can do this for your cardboard color tubes. You can do this for your wax pots, anything like that. So make sure you've got all of your stock, retail, professional, everything on your system. Now, when you've scanned out or manually searched for all of your products, in the bottom right-hand corner, we're going to click the End Sale button. Okay. Now, the reason we do this is once we click that End Sale button, it will manually, well, not manually, it will automatically deduct all of those products that you just scanned out off of your current levels. So that is essentially how we do a stock take. So scanning those products out for all of those professional products, then clicking the end sale button will now adjust your current levels for your professional products. So it's a very quick and easy way to do a professional stock take. Now, also, you would have got now printed out a receipt with all of those products on. So essentially what you could do is ring up your rep and place an order for all of those color tubes, professional shampoos, and only replenish and reorder what you use during that working week. Now, I appreciate that's not completely a foolproof plan, but it is a good way to only reorder what you've used throughout the week. And of course, that has most importantly updated your shortcuts current levels. Now, also, I know what it's like in salons. You may get a staff member that says to you, "Oh, I can't find any hairsprays. Is it okay if I take this retail hairspray off of the shelf?" Now, as you can imagine, as soon as you've taken that hairspray off the shelf to use on a client, that product is now one less on the shelf. So unless you then do a stock take straight away, your current stock levels are totally inaccurate. So what I would always recommend is if you do take any products off the shelf to use professionally, also scan those out straight away under hashtag business, and that will deduct and reduce your current levels automatically. Because of course you might not then do a stock take for another 3 to 4 months, and by which time you've forgotten what happened to that hairspray. Now I had a couple of questions come through there as well, just before I move on to the report side of things. Oh, no, sorry, I meant how to email the order. When you generate the order and you click the order button underneath, it will say, "Do you wish to email the order?" That's all it will say. Rather than printing it, it will say, "Do you wish to email the order?" I press employee, press business. Is that okay? So I'll do that just again for when you scan products out to hashtag business. So if we go to the point of sale screen, and then in the top left-hand corner, if we click clients, then it's hashtag business. Okay, always do it under hashtag business. If you're doing it under maybe retail, hashtag retail, it's not going to work. It's not going to adjust any of your stock levels. Always choose the client, hashtag business. Then when you manually search for the products, it doesn't matter which employee you choose here. I just find it easier just to choose Z business because it kind of tallies up. But always make sure, first and foremost, we choose the client hashtag business. Yes, that's exactly the same, Liz. Exactly the same. No problem. Okay, so the last aspect is, of course, to go through our reporting. So there's two reports we need to look at. So on the right-hand side, we're going to click onto the tools button, and we're going to click onto the reports button just here. Now, over on the left-hand side, you will see we have a stock section just here. If we expand stock, you will see we have professional stock usage and stock control report. Okay, these are the two we are going to look at. So professional stock usage, this will show you products all sold to the hashtag business. So it's a great way to see any products you've used professionally. So if we click the view button, and you can set yourself a date range if you need to. So if we just click the view button just for today, the 6th of May, we can see a list of all of our professional products. Now, of course, what we have here, we have all of our color tubes scanned out, but this is a great report to pull to see, like I said, when I gave my demonstration of taking a retail hairspray off the shelf and then scanning it out and using it on a client. This is a great way to see how many times retail products are being taken off of the shelf. If that is the case, it may be that people aren't searching for the products in the cupboards effectively enough, or you may need to speak to your reps and just see whether you can get any more professional use products. This is a great way to keep track of all of your professional stock. And of course, it may highlight to you that you're ordering quite a lot of the same product and using it. So you may need to up your maximum and minimum levels, and of course check your current levels as well. Now, this is your professional stock usage report. This is a great report to run. You should be looking at this around a week to two weekly once you get going with scanning those products out. Keep on top of those professional products because, of course, like I said, if you're scanning out lots of the same product and reordering it, you may need to up your levels And of course, if you notice that you're scanning out a lot of the same product, it's a very popular product, but you find you're going to your local supplier, such as Sally's, and you're paying a bit of a premium for it, again, we need to up those maximum and minimum levels. It's just a good way to keep track and then tweak our stock levels. Okay, so the last report we're going to look at is our stock control report. Now, in particular, this report is fantastic for your accountant for the end of year, end of quarter, that kind of thing. It shows you the value on hand of your products. Okay, now this is very important as to why I said we need those buy prices in, those sell prices in, and our current levels. Because, of course, if you can imagine, if your current level is wrong, it's going to affect the amount of VAT we pay. So we need to ensure our current levels are totally accurate. Now, you'll notice when you run your stock control report, you can't set a date range. The reason for this is because, of course, we want to look at it completely live. We want to know what we've got in stock right now. You can, of course, go back to a previous date, but if you can imagine, the stock levels will have changed by then. On the left-hand side, you can also change the products you wish to look at. And if we click on a little miscellaneous button just here, we can also display whether the products shown will be professional and retail or both. And you can also view your display figures excluding tax. So like I said at the beginning, typically the buy prices for our products are exclusive of tax. So that will adjust it accordingly here. Now you'll also see here we have show product code rather than a PLU code. Now typically we don't really use PLU or product codes, we just typically know them as barcodes, but you can adjust those if you need to. And when you're happy, we're going to click the view button. So what we can see here in the dark grey shaded section here, we have our total products. So you will see we have a total of 98 products in stock. So we've got our value on hand of £1,437 and 67 pence. Okay, so right away, our current levels create us a value of just under £1,500. And then it splits it down between company and line. So you can see our Paul Mitchell company, we have 92 products in stock. So that makes up 92 of our products. You can also see if we have a warning level set. Now, we spoke about that towards the beginning. We'll also see if we have a maximum for each of these products. And we see how many of these products are on order, because it may be at this particular moment in time, we don't have the product in stock, but it is on order. We can see the average cost of the product. Again, we don't typically worry about that too much. We're more concerned about the specifics of the products. And then we can see the value on hand for that particular company or line. Now, as we scroll down, we can see our sell price for our boutique box. Now, again, this is exclusive of VAT. You can see our gross profit percentage, our PLU, that's basically our product code. You can see our primary barcode, and again, the quantity in stock for this particular product, our warning, and we can see our maximum. The maximum level is what we did right at the beginning. And the average cost, and then of course the value on hand. So we can see the value of hand for our companies, lines, and specific products. And we can of course see that for all lines, all companies, and so forth. Now remember here where we've got these products written in italics, these are typically professional use products. So right down the bottom, we do have some other buttons we can use. We can toggle between the pages using the previous and next button. We can also export this report out to a CSV PDF file if we need to send it across to our accountant. We can, of course, print it. And if we do need to change our print setup, which some of you may need to do for the time being, if, of course, you've taken your computers home. And lastly, you can zoom or you can use the search button. Perfect. And that is pretty much bang on there for the hour. Now, I did have a couple of questions come through, but I hope everyone's found that informative. Like I said, it's a fantastic tool to have. I appreciate it's a lot of steps to go through, but in the long run, once we do this little bit of background, this little bit of homework, it will really make your life a lot easier. So you can see how quick and easy it is to generate an order, which of course, moving forward, will reduce wastage and of course, costs, which at the moment is almost a must, okay? So just while I go through some of the questions that came through, feel free to drop any messages, anything like that that you need. What does it mean if the writing is in red? Where did you have the writing in red, Melanie? So Alison, how do you put the units in? I have a drop down, but no, yeah, you can't put the number in. So basically it's just telling the system that you order them in individual units or packs or things like that. So when you put your maximum and minimum levels in and your quantities, when you place the order, it will come up with how many units you're going to order. So typically it just makes things a little bit more manual when you create the order. Just pop them in the units you want to. So whether it's 3, 6, 9, those kind of things. Perfect. You're very welcome, Raymond. Thank you very much. So stock control report total figure was different from the two suppliers figures added together. I'm not sure where that is. Yeah, no worries, Ellie. Drop me an email at the end, Ellie. The best thing for me to do would be me to either call you or just drop you a little tutorial. It take about 3 to 5 minutes to change them all over to 20%. And it's one of those things you probably never touched on before. So I'd rather sort of just make sure you've got a nice step-by-step tutorial that you can refer back to with pictures and things like that. Because of course it is quite an important aspect. So drop me an email at the end. And I'll send you across a little tutorial with some screenshots just so you can follow those steps to ensure that you do it correct. You're very welcome. Perfect. Great stuff, Marie. You're very welcome, Lisa. Yes, Vicky. Yes, you can. This will be available to share with your front of house at a later date. We also do have the sort of dissected stock sections on our YouTube channel as well, but we will be running those moving forward. On the report, what happens if the purchase price changes during the quarter? The report will update accordingly. It's pretty much a live report. If you were to go and change all of your prices now and rerun the report, it would take all of those into consideration. That's why your stock control report, you can't really set a date range or anything like that. It comes up with today's date. It's totally live. Yes, Aora, you will do. Okay, no worries, Jane. Thank you very much. Take care. The report shows some red. Is this stock? Do we not have in stock? It may be your system is set up to show a negative balance. Okay, typically I wouldn't have that. But yes, unfortunately, just if you could screenshot and send your report across to me, I'll be able to have a look at that just because it's not on mine, unfortunately. But yes, usually it's if you're in a negative balance. You're very welcome, Lorraine. How do you set the screen to stay longer? No worries. So just while I wait for some other questions to come in, I'll show you how to do that. Do you mean it's logging you out? So if you go to setup in the bottom right hand corner, and then if you click configuration, and then over on the left hand side where it says terminals, terminals are basically your computer. And then here where you got the timeout column, okay, if you've only got the one computer, you'll just have the one terminal name, and then just change the timeout here in seconds. Just as a heads up, I wouldn't usually recommend more than 3 minutes or 180 seconds, okay? But that's where you adjust it just here. Thanks, but you may have some products in stock at the old price. Will the report show both purchase prices? No. As soon as you adjust the purchase price for one, it will change it. If you need to run a report, I would recommend running the report, exporting it and sending it across to your accountant, then changing the prices over, exporting it and sending it across to your accountant. But yeah, as soon as you change the purchase price, that will be it. That was how it will consider it. You could essentially go back to another date when you run the report, go back to a different date and it will have the old purchase price on it. But as soon as you change it moving forward, all of your purchase prices will be the same. You won't have the two side by side, unfortunately. Let me just go back to that. Yes, the stock control report, can you go back in time and report the stock was on a certain date? Yes, you can do. So if I just go back to tools and reports, and if we have a look at our stock, so it will always come up with the most up-to-date date and time. But here, if you click onto the date button, you can go back to a different date if you needed to. But of course, the figures will change to what it was on that date. Now, I think somebody's had a couple of questions actually regarding the totals being different. I'm not entirely sure. Let me have a quick look. Why is the top total different to the two added together? So this total here, for the 98, is for Paul Mitchell and Kara Stars together. So what it does is it splits it down individually. Hopefully this is going to answer the question. If not, I will look into it a little bit more detail. So the Paul Mitchell here, this is our company, and that shows you we have a total of 92 Paul Mitchell products. Underneath our PUI is the line which falls under Paul Mitchell, and it's saying out of those 92 products, 89 of them are made up from the our PUI line. And as we scroll down, so we've got two products that makes up education, so that should be 91. And then merchandising makes us up to 92. So that adds up there for our Paul Mitchell. So then we need another 6. Yeah. Then we've got our Redken products, which make up 6 of our total. So that makes up our 98. Now, was it the total value on hand? Let's have a look at that. So one thing, don't add these two numbers together here, the 1389 and 97. So remember 1389, that is saying that from our total amount of products we have in stock, 1389 of that is made up from Paul Mitchell. That's our Paul Mitchell company. And out of those 138997, 1374.72 is made up from our PUI line, which falls under the Paul Mitchell brand. So if we add 1374 and 72 to our 750 and 775, for our mathematicians out there, hopefully if we add these two numbers together and add it to this, we should get this. And then if we add that to 47, it should add that together. Hopefully, I think that's about right. You're very welcome, Ellie. No problem, Vanessa. Thank you, Lorraine. That's great stuff. Thank you very much. Hopefully, I'm gonna when we get off the webinar, I'm gonna have a look just to make sure that does all add up. But I think that's what it is. It splits it down. Just think of it that way. Our total of all of our products, Redken, Kerastars, L'Oreal, everything, Paul Mitchell, is 1437. And out of that total quantity here, 1389 of it is made up from Paul Mitchell. And then if we want to split it down further, we can say that out of our total number, 1374 is made up of our PUI. So we can see basically which companies and which line make up the most amount of money we have in stock. No worries, Carol. I think that's it. I think that's what it is. Perfect. Any other questions for me this morning? You're very welcome, Leslie. No problem at all. Perfect. You're very welcome. No problem. No worries at all, Carol. Thank you ever so much for joining us. Okay, so I think one question come through there. Let's have a quick look. No problem, Marco. Okay, so it looks as if that could be all for the questions now. It's no problem. Like I said, if you do want to drop me an email afterwards, feel free to. Like I said, I am doing webinars all day today, so I will try my best to get back to you as quick as possible. But feel free to email any questions or queries you have. Ellie, as well, if you could just drop me just a quick email afterwards, just explaining everything that you want, and I'll run through just a quick tutorial. So our next webinar, yes, Leslie, yeah, the next webinar is at 11:30. We're going to be running through. We're going to be running through very basic commission structures and commissions reports. Okay, that was requested a couple of times on the one last week and during the week, just how to set up very basic commission structures. So we're going to go through that at 11:30. We're going to look at basic commission structures. Okay, so I think that's it for all of the questions this morning. I won't be able to make that, Megan. Yeah, no problem at all, Dawn. That's not a problem. Someone's just asking there about with the webinar, would I be able to email it to you? Yes. Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, so I think that's it for all of the questions. No problem if you think of something afterwards. It's always the way. Feel free to just drop me an email and I'll get those answered as quickly as possible. Lovely. So thank you ever so much for joining me this morning. Hopefully I'll speak to some of you again at 11:30, but just to let you know, we do have an all day of webinar. Yes, please. Thank you. Yeah, education at shortcuts.co.uk will come through to me. Thank you very much. Yeah, so we will be running an all day of webinars today as well. Perfect. Thank you ever so much for joining me this morning. It's been a pleasure speaking to everyone, and hopefully I will speak to you all again soon. If not, thank you ever so much. Take care. Bye-bye.